we did not own the inventory anymore, and we just basically had you guys buy and stock it like you probably do some other products, what's your immediate reaction to that?
I think it would just it would probably bring up a few more questions in terms of what the cost of the product was, how many of the procedures we do that we would use the product on a regular basis, kind of thing, and in terms of what sort of financial investment the hospital or facility would have to make, and that in turn would make it how likely they would be to adopt the new technology or new product.
Got it. So you would have to just start to weigh what the real financial benefit potentially or logistics benefit would be. But
yeah, if there was no cost to us directly, where it was the company, then we'd much more willing to try it and see kind of what we thought of it. And at that point, if we needed to purchase or want, I think we'd be much more likely to do it. But to try an ad hoc a new product without knowing much about the usage or long-term benefit of it, I think there definitely been a lot more reluctancy behind that decision.
Interesting. I guess in another way of saying that, like, has there been situations that there could be 2 or 3 comparable products available? And when I say available, they'll do the job, but then because one is there versus one not being there, you're like, oh, that's fine. I'll just use that other one.
In terms of the product or in terms of the rep, you mean being there?
Product.
A product. Yeah, I think it sometimes, I guess, for example, like in terms of stents, they're comparable. Obviously, there's slight difference, and some might be slightly better. But in terms of if for some reason a size is not available or a length is not available, and we have that other product on the shelf that is, then we would probably use that other product, even though it wouldn't be our preferential one.
Got it. So the idea of having the products on the shelf is, in some ways benefits the vendor because, that's going to make it easy, obviously, for you to do. And when it misses, it could be a missed opportunity.
Correct. Yes. I mean, a lot of times you don't want to delay the procedure or reschedule a procedure when the patient's already on the table because of a product not being there. So it would be probably a missed opportunity from the vendor standpoint.
And the product would probably have to be pretty differentiated or very different for you to say, okay, we're going to schedule this tomorrow because I can't get it done with what we have.
Correct. Yeah, it'd have to be something. The product would have to have served some sort of unique function that other products on the shelf don't. Other products that don't do that are on the shelf.
I got it. So this is another kind of hard question again, but if one company said, oh, we're going to consign your inventory, don't worry about it, until you use it, you don't have to worry about it. Or the other company is like, no, we don't do that. We're going to just have you buy it. What either perception discount or perception value do you have versus one company versus the other?
I would probably say the first company that would do it on consignment and willing to pay, I'd say probably, at least in my opinion, would be more confident with their product and more assured that people are going to use their product in the long run, and eventually there'd be a cost benefit to them. Whereas the second scenario, where the company would push the cost onto the hospital or the clinics, I'd probably be a little bit more, I guess, have a little bit more of a negative opinion towards them, and in terms of they're not as sure of the value of their product and not as sure of people using their product for a long term.
Has this happened to you before, where one company will do consignment and one company won't? Have you ever had to get into that choice?
Not that I can think of, where I've had to kind of weigh the two options, decide just based on that alone. I can't think of kind of a head-to-head battle between two companies where that was a differentiating factor.
And do most of the products you use in the cath lab have a consignment model like I described?
Yeah, I think